Now here's another little goofy tip. I know a lot of people, when they grease stuff, they only give it, one pump. That's all you need, just put one pump in there. Like U-joints, just one pump, don't make it blow everywhere. Well, I was always told, when you grease something, you purge the old grease. Get that old stuff out there. I mean, you can see this stuff here, it's black and icky. So if I only put, one pump, actually one pump didn't do nothing. It didn't even crack it out of the seal. It took 5-6 pumps before it started oozing out, and then a couple more pumps after that, and then I saw the fresh red grease come through, and we're good then. I mean, that's just the way I am. Yeah, it makes it a little bit messier. If it was a show truck or a show car, maybe I wouldn't do that. But I don't own nothing that's a show car or a show truck. I'd rather have it, last. I know growing up on a farm, a tube of grease is a lot cheaper than having that combine down or that corn planter down. I was taught you grease it. You grease it until that fresh grease comes out, and you know it went all the way through. So that's my tip. If you use it or not, that's up to you, but that's what I do. I suppose you can watch me put oil in. It's not very exciting. It's like watching a thermostat come to a boil. Yeah, I'm picking on a certain person. But he doesn't subscribe to my channel, so I guess he ain't gonna know that I pick on him. But our Peak, he's a cool guy. He's got some cool stuff. But this particular engine takes 8 quarts of oil, so 2 gallons. I already got the first gallon in, the second gallon. Still a lot, but it is a diesel. Diesels take a little bit more oil. Run a little bit hotter. So I'm gonna let that drain. I'm sure it ain't gonna sit there. There you go. Another useful tip for you guys. I mean, I'm a DOT inspector for over-the-road semis at work, so I'm kind of anal. But I've had this happen a lot, especially on these older cars. When you get in here, you want to check the water pump pulley and the crankshaft pulley for cracks in between the bolts. I can't quite see the crankshaft one from where I am, so I always take a mirror. And because my pulleys are painted, I can easily look in there and see if there's any witness cracks, any little rust lines or stuff like that. I can see the water pump, and that looks good. Power steering pump looks good. I mean, I've seen it. It's happened. I had one 2 years ago. Guy had a small block in a Chevy pickup. All of a sudden, it made this horrible racket, and the lights came on the dash, and he calls me up. He goes, "I don't know what happened," and he goes, "I think he broke a belt." And I came out there and looked, and nope, the water pump pulley cracked and it fell off. Yeah, it was an older truck. I had a lot of miles on, but that stuff happens. Like I said, it's old stuff. So it's another little useful tip. And like usual, you want to check all your fluids. Power steering, brakes, coolant. Did all that stuff already. I figured you might want a little odd tidbit here, but you probably can't tell, but my brake fluid's actually purple. What I use is the .5, fully synthetic. It's actually a tip I learned from an old friend of mine. He did a lot of restorations on British cars and stuff, and we all got these older cars and we don't drive them every day. You figure most of their life they're sitting. Well, when you let drum brakes sit for a long time, it collects moisture, especially with the old brake fluid. It really collects moisture, and your wheel cylinders would free up or seize up, get rusty, and then moisture's in the system, and you're always rebuilding the system every spring, or you run into trouble. Where this stuff here, it doesn't attract moisture, or at least very little. And he goes, yeah, it's not cheap, but you do it once and you're good to go. Obviously you can't just take an old system and drain the brake fluid out and put the new stuff in. They don't recommend that at all. And most of my stuff I always start over from one end to the other, so it's all new. That's usually when I do it. So even in the 40 Chevy, that's got .5 in it. The El Camino doesn't. I didn't know this tip before then, but I haven't had much trouble with it, and I keep it usually in a warm environment through the winter and the real muggy months, and I drive it, so it hasn't given me any trouble. But like my dad's Model A, that does a lot of sitting, and that's 4-wheel drum brakes. and we did the system to it about 5 years ago. Every time you jump in it, the brakes are perfect. So definitely a tip I would think about. Like I said, if you're doing a whole new system, it's definitely worthwhile. If you got the old system already and you got the old fluid in, you're supposed to flush it out and all that crud. That takes a lot of time. You're probably better off just waiting. But I do recommend it. It does work, and pretty much every car I build that's got a completely new brake system in, it gets .5, and I've never had any trouble. Alright, oil's in, everything's topped off, everything's good. So we'll start her up. Fire in the hole. Yeah, everything turned out good. Made oil pressure, so for the most part, we're done. Only thing I got left is check the lug nuts, make sure they're tight. Might adjust the rear brakes. Pedal seems to be a little bit low at times. Other than that, we're pretty much ready to go. So now to wax it. Yeah, I'm not going to tape that because that's no fun. Yeah, I know, waxing a rat rod. It must be stupid. Well, cleans off better. Thanks for watching.